Some people from time to time have asked me about what do I think of Maria Divine Mercy and the Book of Truth. This has come up a number of times in conversations and messages to me. You're in Ireland, Robert. Have you ever heard of Maria Divine Mercy? And I thought I would just do a short video on this topic because it has come up from time to time, and there are many people in Ireland that follow her religiously, that have bought her books and say she's the real deal. Um, Now, I just want to kind of bring in my own experience in this. I don't tend to believe these types of seers because there is a degree in which people can be spiritually abused by people who have so-called messages and visions and so forth. You end up giving sums of money to what they're requesting for. They will say, look, well, I'm getting this message from God, and God is telling me, look, we need to build a refuge, and you're wealthy and you should be supporting this. This happens. Believe me. I've seen it. And so, I'm always a bit on tender hooks because I have been conned. I'm always a bit on tender hooks when people come with these messages and are asking you to buy their book. Because if you go and look on Amazon today, the Book of Truth, these messages of Mary Divine Mercy, are sold for hundreds of euros. So, on one hand, Our Lady is saying, giving this kind of end times prophecy. And at the other side, some people are making a lot of money from this. And, I just have no time for that. That's simply my opinion. Now, people want to know who is Maria Divine Mercy. Well, the media a few years ago, they did an investigation into her because their website was selling the books and they were selling medals, and there was a substantial following and a large amount of money being funneled into this project. And they found out it was a lady in Dublin called Mary Carberry, with another person and maybe her daughter. Now, I know nothing about this woman whatsoever, but they did kind of a sting operation, and the day that these things were published in the newspaper, they have videos of this woman going around and buying up newspapers from around her locality in which her details had appeared in. Now, so on the one hand, it's very interesting because in some of her messages, she is saying, what was she saying? Ignore the scorn, ridicule, and hatred that will be shown when people read the contents of this manuscript. The same thing happened to my apostles. And yet, the person that's writing this never wanted to make herself known in the media. And that's fine if it wasn't for the money aspect. If you're supposedly getting these messages from heaven, just publish them on a website, and they will get out there. But she decided to publish them in a book. Seemingly, this is what Our Lady asked her to do as well. And so people over the years have asked me what I think about them. Whenever I don't know her. First of all, I don't know her at all. She never put her name out there. She never made herself visible. It's kind of one of the things when it comes to messages that I don't trust anonymous people. And I don't trust people who make money from it or ask people to buy books. I don't. I just simply don't trust it. Why did the Book of Truth and Maria Divine Mercy, or Mary Carberry, become so famous? Well, she made some very exact predictions. I suppose this came to light in 2013 when Pope Benedict resigned. And then everybody was saying, but the Book of Truth said that Pope Benedict was going to be ousted. And this was the first time in hundreds of years that the Pope resigned. And I suppose the focus came on to the Book of Truth in that time. And then when the pandemic hit, 10 years ago, Maria Divine Mercy said that there was going to be a warning of global vaccinations. a sudden global initiative to vaccinate, which may seem compassionate in its intention. Be on your guard. Country by country, these groups are colluding to control as many people as possible. She also mentions that churches will be banned. Well, they were during COVID. Those of you who pluck up the courage to go back to church, never be fearful of praying and showing your faith openly. For those of you who take my church for granted, then don't. For it is only when this very gift, which represents your faith openly, is taken away from you, that the truth will finally dawn on you, and this will make you angry. My daughter, tell the people not to panic. Then my followers will be saved and will be lifted with me into the clouds to await my new paradise in heaven. Anyway, as I said, the messages could go on and on and on. As soon as the Irish media kind of did their investigation and uncovered her, they kind of linked together her voice from an interview she did in America with another interview. The website was shut down. So this whole kind of business was completely shut down. The website was shut down. The messages stopped coming. Seemingly, Our Lady stopped sending messages. I don't know. So, just so people are aware, just because some of the aspects of what she wrote in this are true, doesn't mean everything in there is true. And there is a possibility in the occult world, and I've seen this, where people can tell you the future. People can tell future events. People can go to a certain person and they will, if you go looking for knowledge, occult knowledge. When I say occult knowledge, wanting to know one's future is wanting to know what's going to happen to you in the future. How much money I'm going to make in 10 years' time, or how much money I have. Some people want to know their future. Your future, what will happen to you in your future is hidden from you. It's hidden from most of us. We do not know our future. And the word occult means hidden. Occulto in Italian means hidden. So when you go looking to a fortune teller or somebody that can see the future, you're asking for some occult knowledge. And there are people that will give you occult knowledge. In our faith, we're always asked never to look for that type of knowledge, never to go to fortune tellers or those that can see the future, because there are some people that do it and they make money from it. And the fact that this work has got some things right doesn't mean that the whole work, the Book of Truth, is gospel. It's all completely right. I'm just trying to guard people on this. Now, if we knew who this woman is, because we've no idea. She's never made herself publicly known. Is there any priest or any bishop or anybody in the church that has ever encouraged her? We don't know, because it's not known. There's no imprimatur. It's very different when you look at the writings of Father Gobi, which are as apocalyptic as the Book of Truth. There's many things in here that rhyme with the Book of Truth, but this book that you can get is this non-commercial edition is being distributed free of charge. Therefore, no one is authorized to request payment or contributions. Those who wish to make a donation to help the cover of the cost of printing and distribution may send their offering to the national headquarters of the Marian Movement of Priests in their respective country. And this book has imprimaturs in the church. So, if you want to know something prophetic, we know who wrote it, Father Gobi. We know the bishops, the various bishops or archbishops who have given an imprimatur. We know that they don't sell this. It's not for sale. Send a donation, but it's not for sale. And so we can judge Father Gobi on his own merits. We can investigate him. Book of Truth, Mary Carberry, Mary Divine Mercy. There's none of that. There's none of that. And so, as I said, having been conned by other people who do these anonymous type of books with messages from God, I don't put much faith in them. That's just my own impression in it. And the Catholic world at the moment, it seems awash with different things. I can understand why Catholics are on edge in Ireland with the Book of Truth and Maria Divine Mercy. And I mean, I can understand worldwide why you're on edge, because the current pontificate has been unlike any other pontificate that we have seen. It's a very different style. And that's something that Rome needs to evaluate themselves. I think in 2009, everybody was left on edge, really, when we saw the Pachamama worship in the Vatican. Everybody was left on edge. Simply because what we were seeing there was people bowing down to a pagan statue called a Pachamama, which later on they tried to say, oh, it's a statue of our Virgin, of the Blessed Mother and Elizabeth. But really, I think Father Mitch Pacwa, he's a Jesuit on EWTN, he kind of clarified the matter, and he says it's a major scandal. He went on EWTN and kind of clarified for us, this is a major scandal. We are not supposed to worship idols. And I think, as a biblical scholar, as who he is, as a Jesuit, I suppose we just have to take it for what it is. So things in Rome really haven't lent themselves to encourage confidence, and people have been slightly on edge. And then people have been going back to the likes of the Book of Truth and Maria Divine Mercy, and saying, well, look, she warned us that this guy was coming, and look what's happening in the church. I don't know. I have no answers to give you. I just caution people being sucked into different things that might, in the long run, not be actually from God. At a minimum, if somebody's going to give a prophetic message, they should be willing to put their face out there, their name out there. I am the person that, if you actually believe in what you're receiving, put your name out there, and let people then, look at your life. But as soon as investigation was done into Mayor Carberry, the website came down, the publishing stopped, the messages seemingly stopped that I'm aware of. There's been nobody in the Irish Church that is able to vouch for her that I'm aware of. Now, I could be wrong, but that's just where I sit with this. So that's my kind of roundup on the Book of Truth and Mary Divine Mercy. You're free to disagree with me, and many people do. I know she has a big following in Ireland, but as I said, Satan is very clever at deceiving us. And what I suggest to Catholics in the time of confusion is know your faith. Know your faith. Because they can't take away from you. Know the apostolic faith of the church. What is sin? What isn't sin? Because there is a lot of confusion in the church today. And that's, obvious. There's a confusion in the world. There's confusion in the church. If this lady who wrote the Book of Truth wants to come out and discuss her messages, it would be good. But seemingly she doesn't want to do this, so we have to respect her. And as I said, I don't follow messages that have a money trail after them. Buy this book, support, get this message, come to my website. Our Lord didn't go around doing this. Look, donation, I'll give you the gospel type of thing. But anyway, we'll see where it goes. I will grant her that she got a lot of things very right. She got future events extremely accurate in some of her messages. But as I said, I know people who practice the occult who get future events very right. They can predict things about you. They can say, you're going to do this, this, and this. Not that I've ever had personally my fortune told, but I know other people who have gone to people who can see the future, and they've had their events predicted to them, and they've been very accurate. But then, you're that's a lot of power. And sometimes those people that go to fortune tellers, you're kind of then under a dominion of the occult. If somebody says to you, oh, I see you living beside a river. You're going to have a house beside a river. Well, and then the person gets married and they're going to buy a house, and she doesn't want to buy a house because it's not beside a river. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you know what I mean? There's things there that never sit well with me. And that's just my opinion on this. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments, because I know a lot of people have read this book. But just because some of the aspects in it are extremely accurate, especially the Pope resigning or being forced to resign, that was extremely accurate. The vaccination program was extremely accurate. That world leaders would be murdered. Well, that kind of did turn out to be accurate with Trump, I suppose, a little bit. Churches would be banned, turned out to be accurate. Those with lukewarm souls, secret meetings, plans to overthrow Pope Benedict, plan to orchestrate a war. There is a vicious plan underway by world powers to orchestrate a war, the intention being to reduce the world's population. Pray now to help to deflect the level of damage those evil souls want to cause the earth. Their stupid allegiance to the deceiver means that through the satanic powers they receive under their influence, they are determined to carry out this task at all costs. Well, I suppose we've always had wars, haven't we? Anyway, let's see. But as I said to Catholics, beware, discern and beware, because I sometimes people present this stuff. You say, "Wow, it's so true," and you lend your belief to it. It's Father Marcial used to give us these prophecies. He said, "Hard times are coming for you. Hard times are coming for you." Of course, hard times were coming for us. He was a fraud. He was a fraud. Of course, the hard times will come. So discern well. Discern well when you see these type of things. Don't be swayed what's all with the razzmatazz. Know your faith in a time of confusion. God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.